Ready?
Yeah.
I'd like for everybody in this room to recall a moment in where something in their lives didn't make sense. Can anybody share a moment where something in your life did not make sense? Alex.
When I did something on one computer, did the exact same thing in another computer, and they didn't do the same thing.
Okay, so Alex had a technical malfunction of some sorts, and it did not make sense to him how it could have happened that way. Good, Alan?
When your mother tells you to do two separate things at the same time, but it is impossible to do them.
So Alan was asked to do two separate things at the same time. He didn't comprehend how it was a doable objective. Chucky?
When I threw a water bottle out my window and it landed the right way up in my driveway.
Okay, so Chucky had some sort of a water bottle experience. Noah?
And I was playing football in the street, and then I slipped on and tripped. I slipped on leaves, and then I hit my knee. And in the moment, I was like really angry, so I almost skipped the car.
Good, okay. So I want to share an experience, personal experience from my life, very relevant to this particular conversation. Before I got this job at Barkai, I worked in a wholesale clothing company. And before that experience, I had the unique privilege to be an intern at the National Football League. And when I was at this wholesale clothing company, it looked like my time was, coming to its end. And somebody gave me an idea, said, oh, didn't you work at the NFL? Why don't you help get them the NFL license? And maybe that'll help, grow and expedite your growth at this company. I said, okay, great idea. So I made a phone call to my old boss, and sure enough, we got the meeting. We met with the head of licensing at the National Football League, which is a very, very big deal to even get that meeting. And we have this meeting, and the meeting was a huge success. It went exactly according to plan. And to me, the way I was rationalizing the process, it was only a matter of time until we would end up with this license, and hopefully it would help me in my growth at this company. 1 month went by, 2 months go by, 4 months go by, radio silence from the NFL. They're not even telling us no. They didn't say a word. Now it happened to be that during this time was the high holidays, and I was very plugged in spiritually, and I was trying to connect and trying to make sense of the world around me. And all I remember doing at this time was just being angry, questioning, wondering, God, why are you doing this to me? See, up until that point, life made so much sense. I went to St. John's University. I befriended the dean of the school. He got me an internship with the NFL. That was the exact connection that I needed to get this license for this company that I worked in. And all of the stars were aligning. And the world made complete sense to me, and it worked. 4 months go by, no phone call. The world is not working. It doesn't make sense. And it left me questioning in an angered fashion, why? Why are you doing this to me? Why is this happening? It's not fair. Later on, play out the rest of my process. I ended up getting let go from this company. And 1 or 2 phone calls and emails with one Rabbi Joey Dweck led to my eventual job here at Barkai. And the rest is history, right? And now, years later, I'm able to say, not getting the NFL license was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life. Because it led me here, it led me to this moment. Something that I take great pride in, and something that I can recognize as something that is significant to me. But boys, we live in the real moment in time. We don't get to have 8 years of history to then reflect back and say, oh, now it makes sense to me. But we're doing something wrong. And here's what it is. See, we grow up in school, and we have a class called math. And in math class, at a very early age, we were taught and we were trained 1 + 1 = 2. New thought. 1 + 1 in life does not always equal 2. Because we're looking at it from the wrong way. We're looking at it from our perspective. Keep in mind, our limited meathead brains can only comprehend so much. Yet we have the audacity to think that we have everything figured out. And everything that's happening to me in my life should happen exactly the way that I think it should happen. Why? Why do we do this? And I'll tell you why. It's because we get stuck in what it is that we're doing. And we force our hand and we force what we're doing into what it is that I'm doing, and I'm not recognizing the bigger picture. Boys, God put every single one of us on this earth. There's a reason. I can't tell you what it is, and I can't tell you why it is. But I can tell you that if every single thing in your life happened exactly the way you thought it should happen, that would be the most pointless life on earth. Because where's the challenge? Where's the struggle? Where's the growth? Why are we here? We are here to go from point A to point B. And if everything happened that was so easy to me in my life, I would never be able to go anywhere. I'd be stuck at point A. So boys, when we're dealing with adversity, when we feel stuck, we need to ask ourselves the right question. And the right question is, how should I respond based on the fact that this is the information that's being presented to me? Because 1 + 1 does not always equal 2 in life. And we have to stop being arrogant, and we have to stop thinking that we have all the answers figured out. We just don't. Can't tell you why. I can tell you it's the greatest thing that we have. It's the greatest gift that God has ever given to us, because it actually makes us fall down, get back up, and feel prideful of the fact that we were able to do something in life. But boys, every single time we experience a hardship, here's what we need to think. Here's a brand new opportunity that God has gift wrapped for us to find growth and to find meaning in our lives. And instead of us trying to make sense of the world, right? Instead of us trying to say, how does the world fit into my brain? We need to take a step back and say, how can I find meaning in the world around me? Just because I don't get it doesn't mean there's no sense to make of it. It just means that I haven't thought enough, or I'm not at a level in where I can make the logic that's necessary for me to make sense of this moment. So boys, every single one of us in this room, myself included, from this day on, moving forward, will experience hardship. We will get knocked down. We will find faults with other people around us, and we will say, this doesn't make sense to me. But who in this room wants to rise above it? Who in this room wants to concede, wants to stop feeling average, feeling like the typical average Joe that we all know is in our DNA to feel, and start being special? Start thinking, everybody's going to experience this. Who's going to rise above it and say, I don't know why, but it's my job to rise above. It's my job to get back up again, because that's the beautiful gift that God has given to me on this earth. We have to go from point A to point B. Who here wants to get up and travel? I do too. Just do it. Let's move. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat.